Hello everyone, David here. With this video we start a new series called Fix My Mix by popular demand, and also because I want to give the chance to everyone to see what they get with this subscription to the channel, which not only gives you access to the already big and always growing library of in-depth professional mix and mastering courses, tutorials and videos, but also mix consultations with me. So with this series everyone can get a general idea of how those mix consultations work, what to expect. Of course, these are going to be a quick and easy version of them. I'm not going to go into that much detail as I do for real consultation, but I hope it's still going to be helpful and fun. I'm going to listen to your mixes. These are all mixes sent from subscribers. Analyze them, see what's wrong, what can be fixed, what can be improved, either in mix or mastering. So let's get to the first ones. Hello everyone, welcome back to MixPass TV. Hope you're having a great day. Before we start, of course, check the info box down below for my mixing courses on Pro Mix Academy. Free plugins, special discounts and offers, new every month. And if you want to support the channel, but most important, access to the exclusive content, click the join button down here, see all the perks of becoming a MixPass TV member. This video is also about that. So let's get to it. Welcome to another episode of Fix My Mix. This series, I listen to your mixes, guys, and I give you my feedback. Let's get to the next one. It's called Drag Me Down. Master it.
From myself and I'll be free. Devil's on my shoulder, but he won't win. Try to drag me down, I'm not giving in.
Let's stop at the first minute. Let's start with the intro, and then everything else comes in. First of all, there's a sound in here that at first I thought was a digital clip thingy. I'm not a fan of that, but that's production. It sounds like a digital clip. You understand that it's not, but I don't know how pleasant that is for the general population. Now, that aside, that is a minor thing. My problem here is that this transition doesn't happen. Of course, the master is pretty squashed. And what happens here is the volume of this intro, it's kind of too close to the volume of everything else coming in. So it starts because the guitar starts and the drum starts, but the mix doesn't reflect that. I would have lowered this part and maybe put like some sort of filter on it to make it a little more interesting, because right now, yes, we have the pan, which is interesting, it's cool. It's an overall well-balanced mix. So let's start this way. Nothing pops out like being, oh my God, this is like so off. With that said, this intro, I would box it in so I wouldn't leave that wide of a bandwidth. So something like this. I'm just gonna do the poor man version of it, because everything has big bandwidth, nothing does, you know? So this might be too much, but. And then you open it. This way, the beginning happens. Otherwise, it's just too close to that. So this is a rule for every mix, basically. When you have the most powerful part of it, you might have to go back and, take things away, whether EQ level, with pan effects in the previous part to make that part pop, because that's your ceiling, right? So we can't go bigger than that. That's the first big mistake when the vocals come in. But in this part, the instrumental part, those arpeggiator, they should be lower in level than the guitars. And again, I feel like this is a static mix mistake, like basically all the mixes, almost all the mixes that I get. These arpeggiator are left at that level, and then just let the arrangement fill in. But it doesn't work like that, okay? If you're a professional mixer, you have to move things around. And this part, everything is pushed into the limiter, but it doesn't pop because those arpeggiators are still so high in level that they go on top of the rhythmic guitars, which, for my taste, at this point, they should be the most powerful element without other things distracting or taking away. And the drums. So this doesn't happen here. Also, where's the bass? You know, these guitars, either you make the guitars really beefy. In this case, I would use, like, if you have a skimpy guitar sound, you can use like max bass to just beef them up a little bit. I can even find a fundamental right there. They're probably cut too high to make space for the bass, but the bass in this case is too low in level. It seems to have a good sound, although it's not dynamically controlled because some notes are higher than the other. And when you hear those notes, that's the right level. All the notes should be at that level, because you lose the bass on some other notes and you just lose power. That one note, the second. The first one is good. Yeah, the bass, it doesn't, I mean, on my main, it's just my desk, it's not vibrating, this too little. And these guitars, the arpeggio guitars, I'm not a fan of the sound. That's production, that's fine. The rhythmic should be a little more big at the bottom, and the bass should also be a little more distorted and a little more present, a little bit in the mid-range. I understand where the mix engineer is going with this. Like, you want a deep bass, but you still need a little bit of growl to make the bass intelligible, make the listener understand what it's doing, even if it's not too obvious in level. You still need to, you know, make the articulation come out. There's a lot of energy here. See, even just removing a little bit of 200, the bass comes out, it cleans up and makes a little bit. Not something I would do on the mix, but you get my point. The top end is a little harsh. This is 4.5K on the guitars. It's just it's like a shower. It's too much distortion probably, or just EQ. But the biggest mistake here is when the vocal comes in. There's this sine wave that goes ding and goes really deep. It's a cool effect, but it's hard to understand what the mistake technically was. Maybe just pushing that to the master that much. But something is eating up the vocal when he starts singing, and it can't happen. You just miss the first words of the singer. Either you automate the vocal there and you keep the vocal up.
An angel in disguise is what you are to me. Save me from myself and I'll be free. Devil's on my shoulder, but he won't win. Try to drag me down, I'm not giving in. Tonight.
One thing that is a no-go for this vocal is it's too dynamic. Okay, I like that you put the lower octave in it, left and right. That's cool. That's not enough for vocal production. I would want on this lead vocal like more of some sort of doubling effect in the same octave on top of the double, or I mean, there's so many things you could do.
Save me from myself and I'll be free.
But yeah, the thing that rubs me the wrong way is the dynamic. Is not dynamically controlled enough.
Save me from myself and I'll be free. Devil's on my shoulder, but he won't win. Try to drag me down, I'm not giving in.
See, that's too low. Also, I'm not a fan of the hi-hat all the way there. I like wide overheads, but you should balance a little better what's in the mid for the drums. I like to have a little bit of hi-hat in the mid channel, you know, and maybe balance it out with a little ambient on the other side. It's just really so far, and some people like that, so it's just personal taste. Also, same thing that I said for other mixes. You might want to take away a little bit of low end on the kick drum before everything hits, because it just enhances the difference between verses and choruses. Otherwise, again, that chorus doesn't pop. Also, not just the low end, maybe a little bit of click as well, just a little bit. You know, it's something like this on the kick drum. No, not this. Not something I would do on the master again, but not that one. It's not something I can do on the master, but just to give you an idea. There's something here. It might be the 2-bus compressor. You hear like, but maybe his wanted is on purpose, but I'm not a fan. It just makes me go, what happened there? And again, the biggest problem here is the vocal is just this lonely lead mono center. It's kind of weak. I would want it a little more dirty for this genre. I would change the effects, probably a couple of throws, and for a couple of throws here, because he keeps the note long tonight, like I would probably automate the send and just send maybe in sync with the song, or just, you know, to taste a little bit of that, like here, there, while he keeps the note long. Because if you use a delay and you keep the send up the whole time, it kind of self-oscillate with a delay. I mean, you can use a tape delay with wow and flutter and other things that make it more non-linear, but still, if it's steady, it's kind of self-oscillate, and you can have face problems with that. So I would just, you know, write the automation for a delay there, but I would want at least another 2 performances in there in the same octave to do the tonight, because you keep the same lower octave and before and now, and nothing changes. And this vocal is like synced in the music, which for the genre is okay. We want the choruses to have the vocal a little synced in the music, but this is a little too much. This range is a little pointy. Okay, that's what you should do. You should shift the energy in this case and add some sort of air band between 18 and 16, like a shelf like this, and at the same time take out some of the energy here.
Flowing through my veins, all of the demons that I cannot face.
That is a very good transition, for example. So we come from here, and there's this kind of beat underneath that keeps the level down. Your mistake here is not bringing this vocal up, and probably dry it up a little bit. You know, change position, you know. Changes the music becomes like a little bit different.
Adrenaline is flowing through my veins, all of the demons that I cannot face.
And then you open it again, so maybe narrow things down, keep this vocal a little drier, a little dirty. This vocal is so clean for being like a track like this. You need like more saturation, more grit, more like aggression in this vocal. This is a good transition, could have been a lot better.
All of the demons
also the cymbals, again, they're so far away, and maybe it's okay for the choruses, but in the verses you want to bring them closer, you know, when you can actually hear a little more of the ride. The bell is like so far. I know it because I'm listening critically, but you know, it's bringing them a little up.
Adrenaline is flowing through my veins, all of the demons that I cannot face. The devil's knocking at my door again, still trying to drag me down. I won't give in.
Your low end doesn't really translate that well in small speakers. That kick drum has a lot of click, has a good low end on big speakers, but it doesn't translate there. So maybe dirty that kick drum a little. It sounds like a sample, and you know, it sounds a little fake, which in the genre is fine. We all use those, but I don't know, some dirty it up a little bit. Tape emulation, some sort of saturation, maybe a preamp. You should have the fundamental that you have for big speakers, but also you should have a little more knock, while instead you rely all on the click of the kick to be heard in small speakers, which becomes a little bit annoying.
At my door again, still trying to drag me down. I won't give in.
I would want the snare to be a little more powerful, and that bass, try like somewhere between 900 and 1K with an API EQ to give him a little more bark. Let me put this. Now everything is gonna come up, but try to listen to the bass. No way, I can't grab it. It's too low in level.
Trying to drag me down. I won't give.
It's actually a lot lower. You need somewhere in between 200 Probably multiband saturation on the bass on the 200 hertz. I would probably use Isotope, the Exciter multiband, or Audiority harmonic maximizer on that range, 150 to 250, to bring that bass a little more up. There's another thing that I don't like about the guitars is the really obvious editing on it. You can hear the pick playing, the sound is distorted. There's like a lot of gain, too much, and that's probably the problem at the mid-high range. But it's already difficult to hear the pick on those kind of guitars. I have a trick with the API 2500 on one of my videos to bring that pick up and that sound and make them more like audible. And instead you seem to rely on like really cut edit, really on grade with a kick, and that gives this fake sound. This, I don't know, I am not a fan of it. I know a lot of people like that.
Drag me down this time.
I could not pick the right plugin no matter what, so let me try again. I wanted to try that Exciter here, just on the master. It's tricky on the master, you can't do it. It's just the bass lacks that range, that bark there. Let's go over. The vocal is still weak here, just like the first part. So I would want more vocal. I would want some sort of effects. I would want the double here. I would want different harmonies as well. So a double for the same octave, maybe a fifth higher, lower, to be seen. Something like that, EQ differently, with a different distance from the listener as well.
You're not gonna drag me down this time. You're not gonna drag me down this time.
So you have a good bass sound here. You can't hear it anywhere in the song. And also for something like this, again, I would cut that kick drum at the top and the bottom a little bit to make a transition more effective.
You're not gonna drag me down this time.
Yeah, the bass needs to be more powerful overall.
Drag me down this time. Yeah.
Also, you got the same effect, the same reverb, which is not that fitting. For the lead vocal, it never changes.
Not gonna drag me down this time. You're not gonna drag.
I mean, listen.
Not gonna drag me down this time.
Yeah, you want something more dirty for this kind of track, and delays too, as opposed to reverb, and just mix and match them.
This time.
You have a lot of space here. Do something.
You're not gonna drag me down this time. You're not gonna.
Watch those toms. Those toms are way too compressed. You can only hear the no body, no tail. I know it's the genre. I'm just not a fan of that sound.
You're not gonna.
And don't pan the toms 100%. I mix LCR. So everything for me is left, right, or center, but the toms. The toms is just, it sounds like 280s. if you pan the tom like 100% on the left. It's just too wide. The only thing that you can, well, not the only thing, one of the few things that you can play with like L, C, R, and 50, it's that.
You're not gonna drag me down this time.
Almost cool. I hear this tom is like, where is this tom? Like here? You know, toms are here in front, or, you know, 60, 70% there, but still.
Gonna drag me down this time.
There's a lot of compression in it. Now, I suppose is the mastering just pushed, but it could be the 2-bus compressor. Like, you don't want you want, first of all, the snare roll to come up in level, so automate that. It's just not a matter of performance, it's a matter of level as well. And you don't want the cymbals to swell up that much after the roll. You just don't, it just feels weird.
You're not gonna drag me down this time.
Okay, so if you cannot change your 2-bus settings, assuming it's the 2-bus compressor, not the limiter. If it's the limiter, you can automate the threshold. If it's your 2-bus compressor and it's hardware, unless you have mine, you know, the West Audio that I can automate as well, being hardware, you need to automate the level manually. Either before or after the master, I have a video on it. That's why I have basically my mix bus and my master fader, so I can decide if I want to automate the level of my mix before the inserts or after. That's what you should do, because this, first of all, you hear this snare roll, it starts here and ends here. You hit the ceiling right from the beginning. You don't want that, okay? You don't want, again, you want to skim down things before and let this snare roll breathe and, you know, explode at the end. This is just too squashed.
Not gonna drag me down this time.
This is a cool transition, like a good arrangement. I like this. I like that there's the roll and then tension, and then you're not going into the chorus like everyone would expect. It's really cool. The problem is it's too washed out. Turn the guitars down, remove some of the mid-range and lower them in level. What you want here is the vocals to be, even if you have reverb on them, and I like that, because it's a good moment to have like far away vocals, even though I would radio them down and make them a little more radio-y, because the reverb let full bandwidth like this, it kind of sound like hollow. So I would box in the vocal, maybe distort them a little bit, nothing obvious, and then put the reverbs and delays again instead of reverbs. But the guitars are, again, so pushed that everything sounds like very mushed together. I would want a little more separation between things here. And those arpeggiator, I would take them away completely, because they keep this rhythmic pattern that doesn't match with the cool thing that you did, you know. So the arpeggio guitars are loud. And the strumming, it sounds to me like maybe you had a lot of compression on the 2-bus or a lot of compression on individual instruments, and all you can hear is the attack of things. There's no tail, like the toms, like these guitars. You tried, this is just my feeling, you tried to make everything heard at all times, and that never works. It just is a big freaking mess, and everything, like the tension is so high all the time. Even if you did a good job by arranging this thing, the mix, it just works against this so much. And it feels like you have a lot of this slow attack compression which could be the two bus, could be individual channels and groups, or both, which let this transient pass because you tried so much to have everything like, hey, listener, you have to hear everything. Like, this is what I'm doing with this guitar. This is what I'm doing with the other guitar. Nobody gives a damn about it. What you care about is how it sounds all together. It doesn't matter if the listener doesn't hear what the strumming guitar does at that moment, okay? Every track needs to serve the song, and here it seems like everything wanted to be in the first place. And the vocal that should be in the first place are drawn in all these sounds. I don't have to say it, right? You hear, the drums gets in, the guitars gets in, and nothing happens. It's a wall. It doesn't explode. That drum roll, the drum feel there, that should be the loudest things in that moment in the mix. So if you want to do the poor version, I got no time to do anything else, at least for that roll, put everything down, like lower everything down and let that drum be the main element for that moment, and then bring everything back. But that would be the really poor version of it. You have a little boxiness on this snare. It's not that great of a sound there. I would probably cut a little bit of it and give him a little more crack. There, around there, 4K, something like that. Not on the master, of course, on the snare itself. And up it in level a little bit. Yeah, and that bass, which should be like the core, the power of the song, is not right there. It's a good sound when you hear it in solo, if that's the sound that you have in the rest of the mix, but it lacks that saturation and the low mid range that make it really powerful and bark, and most important, translate on all speakers. And also, yeah, that kick has a lot of click, which a lot of people like, and the snare has very little tail and body. It's just only the transient, and I feel like this was just a guess, looking at it and hearing the byproduct of a way to push master just to want it to make loud, and that's not the way to do it. Okay, so I think this is it for this video. This was another episode of Fix My Mix, where I listen to your mixes, guys, and tear them apart. I'm trying to help. I hope this video was useful. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please don't forget to leave a like and share. Let me know in the comment down below if you like this series. We'll try to keep it going. Check all the links in the info box down below. Follow my artist Bella Kelly. We are about to release the second single video, and it's gonna be a bomb. Click the join button to become a MixBus TV member. Access to the already big and always growing library of in-depth professional mix and mastering courses. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Stay safe. See you next time.
Hands on my neck, hands grip my throat. Lift me up.